Some of the initiatives within the Bentonville School District, we are getting to stretch the bounds. We are getting to think well outside the realms of how school districts tend to do things, tend to do business, tend to approach technology. We're getting to really push those boundaries. But it always has to have a why. It has to exist for a reason. It's not technology for the sake of technology. We don't do technology for the sake of technology. We do technology for the sake of solving some problem. And in Bentonville, the problem was just simply complexity. The systems were not functional. They were complex from the standpoint of their teachers, not AV people, not technology, their teachers. The technology can't get in the way. It has to function in that environment within the context of the user. And so the real challenge is, how do you make systems that address that need? How do you make functional systems that have various flexibilities that can do whatever it needs to do on day one, Monday, and what it needs to do on day Friday? Those two things, on Friday, and those two things may be very different. So it has to offer the flexibility, but it has to do it in a way that they can do it without it being frustrating and ultimately, quite honestly, just tucked away in a corner and not used because it's just too much for them to really take on. They've got 30 kids sitting in a classroom. They don't really have time to mess with, how to formulate this thing or how to manipulate these systems into something. They need something that pull their phone out and have access to specifically those things that they need. And maybe teacher A needs something different than teacher B. Well, okay, so how do we address that? How do we design systems around that? And that's what we're doing in Bentonville. And we're able to do that in ways that are very budget friendly. I mean, the technology's there. The technology's been there for a long time. It just has to be, in a way, the shackles kind of have to be taken off the system to some degree. Fortunately, there's people involved in the Bentonville School District that are handling that side of things, the bureaucracy side of things, where we can be what we are. We're creative. We're technologists.